Reading from Canto 4, Chapter 4, Text 23. Gotram Tava Divyam Bhagavan Vrishadvajo. Gotram Tava Diyan Bhagavan Vrishadvajo. Gotram Tava Diyan Bhagavan Vrishadvajo. Dakshayanti Aha Yada Sudurmanaha. Dakshayaniti aha yada sudurmanaha. Dakshayaniti aha yada sudurmanaha. Vyapeta narmasmitam asu tada aham. Vyapeta narmasmitam asu tada aham. Vyapeta narmasmitam asu tada aham. Vivutsrakshaya itat kunapam tavad angajam. Vivutsrakshaya itat kunapam tavad angajam. Kunapam. Vivutsrakshaya itat kunapam tavad angajam. Dakshayaniti aha sudurmanaha. Vyapeta narmasmitam asu tadaham. Vyuksheshya etat kunapam tavadangajam. Gotram tadiyam vivan vrishadvajo. Dakshayaniti aha yada sudurmanaha. Vyapeta narmasmitam asu tadaham. Vyuchakshya etat kunapam tadangajam. Gotram tvadiyam Bhagavan Vrishadvaja. Dakshayaniti aha yada sudharmanaha. Vyapeta narmasmitam asu tadaham. Vivutsrakshya etat kunapam tavadangacham. Gotram tvadiyam Bhagavan Vrishadvajo. Dakshayati aha yada sudurmanaha. Vyapeta narmasmitam asu tadaham. Vyakshrakshya etat kunapam itavad angajam. Gotram, family relationship. Tvadiyam, your. Bhagavan, the possessor of all opulences. Vrishadvajaha, Lord Shiva, Dakshayani, Dakshayani, the daughter of Daksha, Iti, thus, Aha, calls, Yada, when, Sudurmanaha, very morose, Vyapeta, disappear, Narmasmitam, my jolliness and smile, Asu, immediately, Tada, then, Aham, I, Vyutrakshashe, I shall give up, Itat, this body, Kunapam, dead body, Tvat Angajam, produced from your body. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Because of our family relationship, when Lord Shiva addresses me as Dakshayani, I at once become morose, and my jolliness and my smile at once disappear. I feel very much sorry that my body, which is just like a bag, has been produced by you. I shall therefore give it up. Purport. The word Dakshayani means the daughter of Daksha. Sometimes when there was a relaxed conversation between husband and wife, Lord Shiva used to call Sati the daughter of King Daksha. And because this very word reminded her about her family relationship with King Daksha, she at once became ashamed because Daksha was an incarnation of all offenses. Daksha was the embodiment of envy, for he unnecessarily blasphemed a great personality, Lord Shiva. Simply upon hearing the word Dakshayani, she felt afflicted because of reference to the context and because of her body was the symbol of all the offensiveness with which Daksha has endowed. Since her body was constantly a source of unhappiness, she decided to give it up. Om Ajnana Timrandasya Jnana Jana Salakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayamrupas Kadamayam Dadati Swapatantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Vatapatakamelam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Opesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Shute Devi Pranamami Haripe Vancha Kalpa Tarupasya Kripa Sindhave Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gara Bhaktarvinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you everyone. I'll take the blessings of all the Vaishnavas assembled here and all my Siksha Gurus, mentors, and to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada, so that right word comes at the right time. Okay, so we all know that we are in the last section of the Mother Sati's discussing with his father Prajapati Daksha, right? So yesterday Partha Prabhu has beautifully explained the context, and then I'll just go on that one. So if you look at from the text 11 onwards, Mother Sati will be listing the 6 qualities of Lord Shiva, which is a devotee, and then 6 qualities of a Daksha, which is like a materialistic person. So we can understand it, where do we stand upon it, right? Whether it's a devotee or materialistic person where we want to improve on it, right? So if you look at that 6 qualities what Mother Sati from the last 12 verses she will be reciting it. First she will be telling it's a Lord Shiva is the most beloved of all living entities. He has no rival, no one is very dear to him, and no one is enemy. So that means if any devotee, if he see, look, he see everyone as a, he don't have any rival, he don't have any enemy. He either he'll be a compassionate with others or he'll have a loving reciprocation with others. He don't have anyone. That's the reason people will love to associate with the devotees more because of their quality. So that's one of the key qualities, which is what Mother Sati has been told. And second thing is very beautiful and important one. She is telling to Daksha, you simply find faults in the quality of others, whereas Lord Shiva, he don't find a faults with others' qualities, but if someone has a little good quality, he magnifies it greatly. So that's a very another important of it, right? So forget about we magnifies others' quality. We always tend to find the faults in others' qualities, right? Whereas Lord Shiva, the devotee, if you took at that one, they magnifies all the qualities what they have it. That's the second important one. If you look at the any devotees which do it, because Lord Shiva is the exalted devotee, right? So the third one is the very important one. Lord Shiva, whose very name consisting of 2 syllables, Si and Va, which purifies one all sinful activities. We know that, right? So if you, let's say, if you, why do we chant thing? To purify us, because the transcendental name which will purify us. That's what she is trying to say. Because these names are not normal, it's a transcendental, it will purify. So, and then other one is, the another one is very important one. Everyone is what is thing for the common man, he fulfills all the desires. We know that devotees are something like which they fulfill all the one, right? So that's the reason we always pray it, right, to the devotees. Vanshakalpa Taruvachya, right? So he fulfills all the desires what we have it. So once we start engaging in engagement in thinking of his lotus feet, so that's the beauty of the one. Then the another one, fifth is very important one. So she tells the qualities like, you think, Daksha thinks that Lord Shiva he's just associating with the ghost and everything, he's there in the crematorium and everything. But if you look at that one, Lord Brahma, when with his in his lotus feet, if the flower touches with his lotus feet, he wants to put it in his head. So that's the quality of the one. So you think that he's just staying in a crematorium, wearing ashes and then skulls and all, but that's not the one, because you are not seeing what is his quality of it, right? Then the last point is Daksha is what puffed up with the opulence he has it, right? Because he got a big Prajapati, that means a big post in the material realm, right? So he's telling that what Mother Sati is telling, that opulences we possess is impossible for either you or flatterers to imagine. That means you don't know what the opulences we have it. We don't know, we never see the devotees opulences what they have it, right? We know that Kolavecha Sridhar, he's a very poor fellow, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will say that you have the one, the very richest person, right? Because the opulences we see in the terms of the bodily or the materialistic one. So these are the 6 qualities which is Mother Sati will be explaining to Daksha. The other 6 are the very things, right? So which is telling what the fault or what the problem with the Daksha, right? The number 1, no one could be envious of such universal being. So that means, so no one, any general people, common people, they know about the devotee, they will not have any envious with the devotees. That means you are like a fool. That's what even Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, right? Naradama, the lowest among the human beings. So he's telling you cannot be any envious of such universal being. The second thing is, unfortunately, you have found fault with a great soul. So that means he is finding a fault with the great souls. That's the second problem with the Daksha what he has said. Then the third one is another important one. Person who has accepted the material body as a self, if somebody started thinking the material body as the self, they started deriding great souls, because the great souls, they will not be about the bodyism concept. Then what happens is Daksha is trying to deriding the great souls. So, and then she is telling, by doing all these things, the number fourth is you are committing the greatest offense by envying Lord Shiva. By envying Lord Shiva, you are getting the greatest offense. The fifth point is what another one important what he is telling is, so it is better to execute own occupational duties than to criticize others. Don't try to criticize, you just try to do your activities. Let's say even you don't have any attachment to the devotees and all, okay, you just try to do your occupational duties. That's what the even Varnashrama Dharma is meant for it, right? Varnashrama Dharma is like, let's say you are yet to come to that stage, okay, you focus on your Varna and Ashrama. So that is the one point she is telling to Daksha. Then the last one is, she is telling that you are an offender at the lotus feet of Lord Shiva, and unfortunately I have a body produced from yourself. She is trying to, this is the point, this is where this the last yesterday's verse and today's verse is talking about. I have been very feeling she's Mother Sati, this is the pinnacle of her, what is that, dejected or her frustration or angry with her father, that I have a body which is produced from yours. How do we try to understand this, right? Let's say this is the last verse which Mother Sati talks before she quits her body. So if you look at that one, what she's trying to quit her body. Why? Because Dakshayani, the name attached to that one, right? So any devotees, let's say even our bhakti, right? If you have in our bhakti, if you have attachment to any of the qualities, we will not have a bhakti. That's the one thing we need to really understand it. Who is the Mother Sati is here? She is the consort of the Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is the exalted Vaishnava, right? So that means we will not get the devotee association if you have such kind of a quality of fault finding or envy and criticizing others and everything. So that is something which is what we need to learn it. If we have such kind of things, because the word, the Daksha is attached to that Mother Sati, she wants to quit that body itself. So imagine, so that means that's what the stage of it, right? So how do you really understand it? This is something, let us try to take the Bhakti Vinod Thakur's Bhajana Ragasya, right? So he tells that there are 4 blockages for our spiritual cultivation. So that means 4 things which will impact our spiritual progress. The number 1 is Hridaya Durlabha, that means weakness of the heart. So we'll see one by one. Second thing is Aprada, then offenses. Third one is Asat Trishna, material desires. Fourth one is Tattva Vibrama or Swarupa Brahma, that means illusion about spiritual knowledge. If any one of us, let's say even if any one of us have these 4 qualities, that means a weakness of heart or offenses, material desires or illusion about who we are and what is our thing, then we'll have a blockages in our spiritual cultivation. What is the weakness of heart? Hridaya Durlabha. Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he has beautifully given it. It's again, he splits every point as a 4 or 1. Every 4 he has a subdivisions of 4. Hridaya Durlabha, if he took it, the first thing he says is Tucha Sakti, that means attachments of objects not related to Krishna. So in this case we see that Daksha, he has an attachment of, he thinks that Lord Brahma is the so much thing I get from the Lord Brahma, so he's tried to neglect the Lord Shiva, he's the exalted devotee. That's a thing, right? And Kutti Nati, so that is like fault finding activity. So we have seen so much of fault finding activities what the Daksha has done it, right? Then the third one is very important, Matsaryam. That's one of the weakness of the heart, enviousness, right? Fourth thing is the Swapratistha Lalasa, that means desire for fame. So fame is the one thing. Weakness of heart, if you go to our doctor, weakness of heart is you have blood pressure, you have cholesterol and everything. So no other knowledge, wisdom gives us. These are all the weakness of heart which we have at that one. Only by reading these things we can understand that what the weakness we have and how to correct it, right? So we all know the aparadha, so I'll just not go into that thing because let's focus on this thing. Aparadha generally considers Nama aparadha, Seva aparadha, Vaishnava aparadha, and even Jiva aparadha that he's telling. Then the Bhaktivinoda Thakur goes on Asatrishna, material desires. So that means whether you have desire for material objects or heavenly comforts, mystic powers, or liberations and everything, right? So the last one is the Tattva Brahma, illusion about it. Let's say here there are 4 illusions which Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. One is the Swa Tattva Brahma, that means illusions of one's own identity. Here Daksha has an illusion that he is a chief of Prajapati, that means he has a chief post. That's the illusion he has. Then Paratattva Brahma, which is that illusion about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then Sadhya Brahma and Sadhana Brahma, which is about the sadhana and our sadhya, what is the goal and process of it. So that's the illusion. Okay, that's not the thing here. If you try to understand today's verse more from the Prabhupada, in the purport he tells the 2 very important things. Daksha was an incarnation of all offenses. So that means if you are doing offenses, that means we have the Daksha qualities. Daksha was the embodiment of envy. So that means if you have any envious character, so we have a Daksha in our heart. So once we have a Daksha, what happens is, she writes a beautifully point. Since her body was constantly a source of unhappiness, so that means we have the Daksha qualities, our Bhakti Lata, which is a source of unhappiness. So then she will decide to give it up. That's a thing we need to understand it. Even if you look at that verse, today verse, right? When Shiva calls a Dakshayani, my Narma and Smita, that means my smile and jolliness, everything is bashed upon it. So that means I feel very much remorse. That's a word Prabhupada translated. So that means Sudurlabham. I don't feel any happy of it because of having attachment. So that means if you have the Daksha qualities, that means that's what our bhakti is being trying to go it, right? So here Prabhupada makes a thing set, right? Embodiment of envy, right? So let us try to understand what is the envy. This is something a very beautiful lecture from Bhakti Vijnana Goswami Maharaj. He taken from the Lord Kapila Dev's verses. In 4 verses, Lord Kapila Dev says that if you do this, your devotional service, you will not have any progress. He will continuously 4 verses he will tell it. That's nothing but the 4 stages of envy. That's Bhakti Vijnana Goswami Maharaj beautifully explains it from the Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Jiva Goswami is one. The first stage is avajna. What is avajna? Jna means knowing something, right? Ava, looking down somebody. That's the first stage. If you try to look someone down, yeah, I know him, why I have to listen to him? That's the first stage of envy starts upon it, right? How do we have an envy with somebody? I will try to look him low. Why should I listen to him? Why should I have it? I know much better. So that's the first thing. What will the effect of it? That means he started, we don't show any respect to that person. That's the first quality of the envy of it. So what Kapila Dev says it, if you have avajna, the beautiful that verses is, all the 4 continuous verses, he says what is how it impacts the devotional service. If you have avajna, the impact is that your devotional service is nothing but a imitation. It is not a devotional service at all. So it is like he's telling it's an imitation. It is not, you don't consider that, you don't think that you are trying to do a devotional service. No, it is just an imitation. So that's the first stage of envy. Second stage of envy is like hitva. It's like a upeksha. This is the second stage. So first what we try to look someone as a down. So we don't care about thing. And second thing is when you try to, let's say they know you have a thing, what we try to do is we try to avoid that person. No, I don't want to do service with him. Okay, that's fine. I don't want to see him at all. I don't want to talk to him at all. We just say Hare Krishna, just will walk away. We just try to don't do anything. That is the second kind of the stage of the envy. Like how do we have a cancer 4 stages? The second stage is like we try to avoid a devotee, avoid a person. So that's the one. So what will happen? What's the result of it thing is like, so in this stage, he will tell that one, means Bhakti Jnana Goswami will say that it's like Krishna will say you are like a stupid. That means you are pouring your ghee to the ashes. So that means your oblations are offered to ashes. That means you are not offering anything to the Lord. So that means all your effort, all your chanting, it's all not going to give any results. That is the second thing. If you look at that stage 1 envy, which is like we looking someone as a down. Stage 2, we try to avoid. I can't work with that person. We try to avoid it or thing. So that's a stage 2. What the stage 1 and 2 can be, if we identify early, we can address it. Then third stage is like Dvisataha. So it's a third stage. Then what will happen? We are trying to start the hating others. So we try to become hate. So what will happen is we want, okay, we first initially we thought he's lower than me, then I try to avoid him, but he's still growing it. No, he's just doing because of thing. I want something bad to happen. We try to think something bad to happen to him. We try to have a grudge on that person. We'll try to see it. Whenever a chance comes, we try to deride him of that person, that kind of thing. Very beautifully Kapila Dev says that such kind of person never attains peace of mind. That's a very important thing. If you have a peace of mind, if you don't have any peace of mind, we need, at least I can think of how many people I'm hating. So that's a thing one. The last one is the worst of all. So that is the avamaninaha. That is a ninda. That's a nothing but the blasphemy. So now what happened? First you are looking down, and then you are trying to avoid, then you are trying to hate, then you are blaspheming him. That's a thing. That's the worst kind of violence anybody can do it. What Krishna says that one, if somebody does that one, he never pleases me. If that is something is not pleases the Krishna, then what is the use of the one? And the word is very important thing, never. So that's the one thing we just have to be very mindful of it. At least I have to do it, right? So that's the thing. If you look at that one again, today verse, what's the Daksha one? So Prabhupada said that Daksha was the embodiment of envy. If you look at the sum out of things, Daksha has done almost all the 4. He has done even the 4 stages of the enviness he has have it, right? So let's try to understand the ninda, blasphemy of the devotees. So, okay, this is a one conversation in Skanda Purana. It is stated between Markandeya Muni and Bhagirath king. So where Markandeya Muni says that one, Nindam kurvanti ye muda Vaishnava Mahatmana patanti pitrubhi sardam mahararva samjane. So what he's trying to say, my dear king, who derides an exalted devotee loses the result of his pious activities. So first thing is, what is the result is, he loses his pious activities, whatever the pious activity has done. Forget about bhakti, even the pious whatever we have done, it loses. Second thing is, all the opulences will be loosened. Third one is his reputation and sons. All these things he loses if he try to do exalted devotee of the one. So that's the reason, if you remember, when Bhava Prabhu was giving the class, there was one Prabhupada perfect was there, right? Envy on the part of materialistic person is very good, because that's a way they fall down very soon. So that's a thing. So if somebody is envy, okay, at least you fall down very soon, then you'll have a thing. Coming back to the Skanda Purana, what the Markandeya Muni was telling, then he's telling Vaishnavas are great soul who are blaspheming, then fall down to hell known as Maharurva. That's one of the hells. We'll read more in the 5th canto. So not only him, accompanied by his forefathers. So he's telling what are considered as a Vaishnava's aparadh kind of thing. Whoever kills or blasphemes a Vaishnava, whoever is envious of Vaishnava or angry with him, or the last 2 things are whoever does not offer him obeisances also considered as a Vaishnava aparadh. Then the last one is, if you not feel joy upon seeing him, also considered as a Vaishnava aparadh. That's what the standard what they have it, right? So that's how our Purana is saying it. let's take a one more pastime of the one. How we know that Mahavadanaya or Mahaprabhu, so even he'll not tolerate any Vaishnava opera. That's the one thing. So this is the one pastime from Chaitanya Charitamrita. So where the pastime of Gopala Chapala, right? So he was envy of Shivas Thakur. Shivas Thakur is one of our Panchatattva, right? So Shiva Thakur house in every day night Mahaprabhu conducts a kirtan and it is a very popular, whereas Gopal Chapala was very envious of him, say because Shiva Thakur is getting very popular in that Navadip area. So that's a thing. So they are thinking he is very getting grace, Lord is coming to his house and performing all these things. What he does is Gopal Chapala in one night in front of his house he comes and plays all the paraphernalia for playing the goddess of Durga. So he places wine and other things which is been used to play the Durga. Then he's called all the neighborhood and show. See, Shiva Thakur is not the real Vaishnava. He's just imitating it. In the night he does the puja for Durga, and then whereas in the daytime he's showing as a Krishna devotee. That's he's not the original of one. But the neighbors knows about Shiva Thakur. They just neglected it. They called a sweeper to clean it up and it's all done and dusted. But what happened within 3 days, Gopal Chapala got a leprosy, right? And he has got a very thing. And then he thought, oh, I cannot tolerate anything. So he goes to, because Mahaprabhu is Mahavadanaya, so he is just a ocean of mercy. I'll go and pray for him. He goes and prays. If you look at the beautiful what Mahaprabhu sings it, Are papi bhakta dveshi, tore na udarimi, koti janmaye mata kidaya koinum. So Mahaprabhu says that you are envious of your pure devotees. I shall not deliver you. That's a one important thing. Rather, I shall have you bitten by these germs for millions of years. So you have this, that means your leprosy, let it have it for millions of years. Okay, we know that later again, once he realizes, Mahaprabhu cures him. So that's Mahaprabhu's mercy of it. So that's the thing, right? So, okay, I think we are discussing too much on envy. Is it really bad and how things? That means can I not criticize anyone? So, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is beautifully says in one of the thing. So, we can criticize the behavior of a non-devotees. So that is called a Sat Upadesha. That means a good instruction. So even if you look at that one, even our Bhagavatam or even our purport and then they criticize it because they try to say that this is because the behavior, they have to give the instruction, right? So that if your intention is to for a good instruction for any non-devotees case, that is okay. That is what they are trying to say it, right? So we'll try to look at some of the pastimes from the Prabhupada and then how do we handle the envious character and everything, right? So one day Prabhupada, that's not given the which place it is. It was a very hot summer, I think, and then there was in a garden or he was sitting on outside. It was a very hot and then they don't have a air cooler or whatever it is to have it, so that thing. And then there are few disciples are fanning him on that one. There are few people who are walking, looking at and seeing it. And then one person, he could not tolerate. And then he came and to Prabhupada, why he is fanning to you? Prabhupada said, it is hot. That's all. And he, you don't know what to answer, he just left. Prabhupada is, with his humor and skills, he has diffused his, that person's envy. He was thinking, why you have to get that privilege, why it's thing. Prabhupada said it's hard, that's the thing they are doing it. He didn't tell anything, he didn't try to give answer at all, right? Another one beautiful that this is Prabhupada has written to Yamuna Mataji in 1970s, asking them to go to Vrindavan and build a temple over there. So that's the thing. So okay, so he's telling about it is about Gaudiya month. Okay, so he's telling that they cannot do anything. If somebody does something, they'll be envious of it. He gives one example of it, which is a Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur tells this example. He quotes that one in the letter to Yamuna Mataji, right? One person is coming and tell another person become a judge, high court judge. He said, no, that is not at all possible. How can he become a judge? There is no way. Another person said, no, yeah, I saw him, he was sitting in the court. Oh, okay, he might have given a judge, but he'll not getting the salary of it. So he, what this Bhaktisnath Sarat Thakur example which Prabhupada and quotes, somebody is envious of thing, they'll try to find a fault after fault after fault. That means they'll think he'll not have become a judge. Even he has become a judge, they'll think, okay, he become because of some quota, or he'll not get a salary, because they don't have anyone to give a judge post or a thing, so they'll get a thing. So that is the quality of the one. So Prabhupada writes that one. So many persons are envious of my Guru Maharaj, so that means Bhakti Saraswati, but he didn't care about it. He was continue on preaching of it. That's the one thing we need to really understand it. That's what he quotes to the Yamuna Mataji, right? So actually, okay, so we look too much in the envy. What really first forward our level? I'm not doing any ninda. I'm not doing any hateful to others. What I'm thinking. My Guru Maharaj, in his book Bhakti Bhava, he beautifully explained what is envy. In 2 lines, he just tells it. One is that you are envy. Envy means you are indirectly appreciating other person. That means why you are envious of other person? Because you are indirectly appreciating other person. That means he has something. So your indirect appreciation, that is the one thing, right? So if you try to look at that one, for example, we know that Pat Cummins got one of the most in the IPL contract. He got the biggest money, which I don't have any envy of it, because I know I'll never get such a thing. Even he got over 20 crores for a season, right? That's a massive money of he got it. He'll never know, at least I don't have any of it. But whereas other person of my one, he got a 3 grands more than me, I'll be like, oh, he got a 3 grand extra. That is a envy of it. We'll try to have a envy of who is like we think that I am a superior to him, then that person is getting, then we try to have a envy of that one. That is the one thing. So that means even my peer, he get, let's say he did a well, so he deserve more. That's the thing, but I didn't see that one. Whereas Pat Cummins got so much of money, I didn't have any envy on that one. That's the number one. Second thing is what my Guru Maharaj says in the book will be like, you are insecure about yourself. So that means why do we have an envy of it? Because we feel insecure. So that means somebody is trying to occupy me. So that means he has grown up. So that means he has become a pet of my manager. So that means I'll not get any benefit of it. We'll try to see the insecure. Chaitanya Taran Prabhu beautifully says in one of the lecture. So why do we have the insecureness? That means that we always think and depends on my happiness depends on the external of it. Right? For example, I get some X money, so but let's say I'll be happy the day one, but next day or next minute I came to know that my friend and peer, but he got a 5 grand extra, that all my happiness goes away. Because it's like happiness, I always feel that my happiness depends on external factors of it, not the internal aspect of it. That is what we are trying to do it. That's what our Guru Maharaj beautifully writes in the insecure about yourself, right? So in another one of the lecture which Vraja Bihari Prabhu is in the ISKCON Jihu, he says a beautiful about that one, right? So we'll just try to become threatened by other achievements. So that means if there is something happen to others, we'll try to become a threatened. That will try to threaten. That is what we have the one, right? So because we try to, our happiness depends on externals, we try to do on the things. So that is the one major aspect of it. Also we need to know we are envious. We are thinking we are superior to them. That means if we try to think we are trying to superior, then we'll have envious of it, not with any other general purpose of it, right? So I just want to take one story about how do the superiority of the nature will come, how that is envious and then how it is impacting it. So there is one aspiring devotee. He thought he has read so many things and he is deserved to get initiated by his Guru Maharaj. And then in the Vrindavan, he is going to his Guru Maharaj and telling, Guru Maharaj, I have read this, I have done all these things. Please give me the initiation. That's what he's going and telling the Guru Maharaj. So he thought that if I go and bow down to my Guru Maharaj and say everything, he'll take, yeah, so nice, and give you the initiation. But Guru Maharaj knows about they can read what is his heart. They said that you come after 1 week with a one person who is lower than you in all aspects. The importance, in all aspects, you find a one person, you come out with him, I'll give the initiation for you. Why Guru Maharaj is telling? He thought, okay, this is very simple, I no need to have any problem. I'm in Raj, I have so much of quality, I have appliances, I have renounced everything to come and take initiation. So it's easy to go. I'll just go and find some sweeper, and then I just give him some money or prasad, I'll bring him, and then I'll just give him. So he goes, and then he goes. I'm thinking, how a sweeper can be low in all aspects? Because he's in Vrindavan and he's doing sweeping. That means so much of dust he's been inhaling every day and thing. No way he cannot be, in all aspects he cannot be lower than me. Then he became very anxious. But still he has a thing, I can live even. Why not? If not any human being, forget about if this caste is not there, that thing, I'll just I'll find it any animal. What is that one? It's any my Guru Maharaj didn't say any human being, I'll just bring any animal of it, right? So he thought, okay, animal is what? Animal is anyway of course lower than me. They don't do anything, they don't know how to think, they don't chant and everything. And then he thought, cow. Oh no, cow cannot be, because it gives milk. Okay, then he thought whether it's a dog can do. No, dog is very faithful to his master. I'm not faithful always to my master. And then donkey, he's tried to do thing, and then he could not find any one animal which is lower than him in all aspects of it. Then he thought so much, he don't know what to do. It is, a week is nearing. One morning he went for a nature call. So in the nature call, okay, how about I got a stool, how about one? I just no, I cannot show this to Guru Maharaj. I had a very beautiful, nice prasad. I had a thing, but it is my output. This cannot be the one. And then he saw a worm which is doing that. Aha, this is the one which is lower than thing. Then he really thought it is a worm, is a really a bad one. It's a lower in all aspect. It does eats all the junk one, but without a worm, we all know that worms is what it's really meant in the field, agriculture field, to do it, right? So it is like, it does that thing, it's that one, it is just making a more fertile a ground kind of one. I cannot produce even a single grain by my thing, so I cannot think. He is completely down. And then he went to his Guru Maharaj, and then Guru Maharaj, I cannot find any one thing. Then Guru Maharaj said that now you are ready for the initiation. So he got the initiated. So that's the one thing we need to really understand it, right? So we all know that so much of envy and everything. What's the option for us, right? What do we do? So I have envy. So I don't know about others. What option of is? So again, Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he'll say that one. Vaigunya kita kalitaha. So that means what is happening is material activities. I have been bitten by the germs of the material activities. I have been infected by germs. What is that germ? It is a material activities. Vaigunya, it is a material. Kita, it's germs, right? Then second thing is what the problem what we have is Paisunya Vrana Piditaha. That means Paisunya is nothing but envy. What Kaviraj Goswami calls envy is like a boils. If you have a boils in our body, how tough, right? Even is one boil, forget about so much boils in our body. One boil, it is very tough to handle it. If you touch it, breaks, it's gone. And if you touch it, it's a tough, it's a thing, right? So Kaviraj Goswami says that if it is like a boil, envy is like a boil. So Kaviraj Goswami says that means let's say it's like me, I am affected by the germs of material activities and suffering from the boils of envy. So if you have that kind of one, what is the option? Kaviraj Goswami says that Daina Arnave Nimago Aham. He's telling that we need to take a dip in the ocean of humility. We need to fall in the ocean of humility, Dainya. So if we don't have a humility is the first thing he's asking us to develop it. So falling in the ocean of humility, okay, after we fall in the ocean of humility, what we need to do it? Chaitanya Vaidyam Ashraye. So we take the great physician, Vaidyam. So it's like a physician, doctor. So who is the doctor? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We go to that, we take a bath in the fall in the ocean of humility, and then take the shelter of the physician of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We have Gaurav Purnima coming in a couple of weeks. We all try to fall in the ocean of humility and take the shelter of the physician of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Grindra Srimad Bhagavatam ki any comments, any query, corrections? Sorry, Prabhu, I'm not aware of which Gotra Mother Sati belongs, but that's not given in anywhere. But Gotra is like, it's even a, yes, you are right, it is belongs from a great sage, but it's in the family it comes. Let's say I have whatever my father had a Gotra, same thing I have, and my son, and that's a thing. It's like a family lineage of one. That's what Prabhupada that's written here. But I don't know what is the Gotra of Mother Sati has it. Yes. Thank you. Sorry, Mataji. The 4 points from the Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which is in the Bhajana Ragasya. Vrindra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.